Welcome back to the channel. Another section fault video for you, street lighting stuff again obviously, and some of the more keen-eyed and eagle-eyed viewers will probably recognise this one from, it's going to be one of my most recent videos, probably 2 or 3 videos ago. I think in that I mentioned that generally with section faults, my remit here is to basically, if there's a tripped MCB or anything like that, my remit is to just reset it, and then it's logged what's done there. If it comes back in, then a proper follow-up and investigation goes into finding obviously what's the fault. So on that, inevitably obviously it's tripped again, which is why I'm here. But again, I've had it on good authority that somebody's been out and basically said that this is all hunky-dory here, nothing's the issue, and then mysteriously the circuit breaker trips again. So quite frustrating that I'm going out and doing work that other people should be doing, but it is what it is, and I suppose it's going to bring more content to the channel, and it makes a wee change from just fitting LED fittings all day. So we'll get stuck into it. I'll show you everything here. From having a quick survey of this area, it looks to be about 15 columns or so that this circuit's controlling. Just going off, so I just going off experience and column positions and locations. There's possibly 1 or 2 columns that are 3s or get 3 cables in it. So we'll do our usual and we'll just sort of split it down, IR test, and I think I'll go with a different tactic on this one. Generally what I would do is, if it's tripping instantly, then I would just split it somewhere in the middle, reset it. If it holds, then I know my fault's beyond the split. If it still trips, I know it's before the split. We'll go and see what we're dealing with here. If it's not tripping instantly, then I think I'll just go between each column if there's 14, 15 on it, and just IR test everything, and then that way I know for a fact what's good and what's bad. So if I look at my section box here, you will probably recognise it. It's obviously that circuit there, but this is the one that I was saying. It's a wee bit of copper and shoulder. You could probably get your finger in there and touch that, but the fuses will need pulled. I don't have my ticket for that. First and foremost, I'll even just grab my clamp meter. Put that on. I'm sure the timer button actually works in this one, so we'll see. Right, if that's 14, 15 columns and it's only pulling 2.6 amps, no an issue there with startup or anything like that. So what I'll do is what I'll do here, but I'll just do it off camera, is I'll switch all these circuits off, bar the one I'm actually going to be working on, to get a rough idea of what's what, and I've even just sort of write it down in a wee drawing, and then I'll be able to sort of start breaking stuff down and IR testing things and getting circuit routes and all that stuff. But first and foremost as well, I want to find out where that's going, and it looks to be going over there first. So depending on the style of cable and stuff like that as well, that one looks as if it's got some markings on it, so hopefully I'll be able to find that one, no bother, and then I can just start breaking the circuit down. Just for reference and easiness sake, so that you guys follow along, so this is R5, been over to R6 and taken apart the SMK, cable's still connected, and the column at my section box is R7. If you see in there, that sort of marked cable is the same that's in the section box, and both the cables over at R6 like that, so that's probably going to be my supply into here. So I'm going to just confirm that. I'm just going to strip all this down and find out what one's my live leg, because there's actually 2 of them in there, that style of cable. So I'll find out what one's the supply, and then that lets me know that I can obviously test out the cables. I can find out what one then goes into this bit and does a couple of columns, and then what one goes probably over there. Right, this is that SMK stripped down. It's going to be one of the 2 that's sort of in at the SMK. It's the supply, that one won't be. I reckon that one there is probably going there, and these ones will be going that way. But I think that column, I've been to a 2 hour for that before. I'm sure I've brought it to the channel, that fitting hanging. So I'm sure the cables in there are extended, so it's going to be a wee bit difficult. There's quite a few extended cables around these bits, but I'll go and switch that box on. I'm just an eye shot of it anyway. Quickly find out what one's my supply, and then I can then even just do the same thing and find out what one of the cables goes the other way, and then it just gives me a wee bit of a step for a hint and makes testing that a wee bit quicker. Right, got them marked pretty much as I thought. That's my supply in from over there at R6. That one goes out to that column, and this one, whenever they go there. So I'll even just leave this all disconnected just now, and I'll work my way into this wee bit and just strip every column down. And now that I know the supply is disconnected, it's all made safe back there, I can just go between columns and IR test each of these cables, make sure that bit's fine, and then I can concentrate on the main bit. A pro dead still this one, so that's that identified as alive, just with that wee bit of red tape there. And they've decided to use overhead singles, so it's so rigid, it's so stiff, but that's what you're up against here. Both of them are extended, so the fault could obviously be down there somewhere. So I'll move over to this next column, or I'll move back to this column R5. And difficulty with working in this area is I'm sort of reluctant to put anything on the ground. Oh, that could be our issue. I'm reluctant to put anything on the ground because there's some amount of dog shit lying about the place. Right, so that's maybe either not that cable or it is just goosed. I'll do a few other checks, or I'll even put everything back in and see if I'm getting a supply over there without this cable in. So I've got them on very sort of temp now. Left that one off, obviously all that stuff's lighting through. So the plan then would be to go to this one and make sure there's no supply at any of these. If so, probably getting fed back to somewhere else, but I don't think it will be if nothing else is on here. And then it's just trying to establish these cables in, because they're so just go down there, find it, and then it's possibly just going to be digging up this column and doing a joint pack. Yeah, I'm not getting a supply at any of these, but let's see if I can do this. So I'm getting continuity on that one. Let's see if I can do this. I'm getting continuity on that one, is on, there'll be a bit of damage here because this column's been hit before, or it's been hit at least once this column's been replaced, but I've been sent out to a response here with this fitting hanging. So you've the last seen me working at that column dead ahead of us. I put the doors and stuff like that back on them to make them safe, but obviously the cables are still disconnected at both of them. This one then comes down here, and there's 3 columns here. So logic to me said it would probably go to this one, would be a 3er, or go there and then come along this way. And I thought I'd just try this one first, and sure enough, 3 cables in this one. So what I'm going to do is, look at this, look at the state of that. Banjo's nothing bolted in or anything like that, but again, was never expecting to see that when you're looking at this crap. I was going to say the cables up there are thin armours, so I'm thinking that it's a thin one up there that'll come for here, and then it's a one that's extended with overhead cables that'll probably go to the one out in the main road. But I'll strip all this back, I'll strip that one back, I'll strip the one behind me back, and then I'll just process elimination, and then I'll find out what one's up there, and then find out if that leg is gubbed as well, probably at the bottom of that pole. So with this monstrosity now disconnected, I'll just bounce between the 3 of these, just on 250, and that one's shown as clear. That one's shown as down. Shown as down, so I'm thinking if this is the one that's clear, then that's a good chance that one's going up that way, but I'll just do a wee bail out test just to prove that theory. So before even bailing anything out, I thought it would be pointless if obviously this cable's down, because you would still could be giving me continuity. So I thought I'd come back up here and IR test this so that I know which one of these cables is definitely going that way, because obviously at least, or both of these were shown as down, but that was obviously the way them connected in. So try this one first. Just with the state of the wiring out this neck of the woods to do that, because obviously I could be saying that this cable's down and then other cables are dodgy, because there's some amount of extended cables and stuff like that around these bits. Right, and that's that confirmed. So this cable at the front of the cutout is the one that's going up there. Now it's just a case of stripping both the cutouts and finding out which one is which, IR testing them, making sure they're good, and then I'll carry on with the rest of the circuit. Right, this is the one of the other columns, R6 cantilever column with a Phillips LED on it. Brand new column, obviously, new cutout, and look at that armour, 10 or 16mm, whatever it is extended onto that 1.5 or 2.5 armour. It's going to be a dodgy joint pack or something like that under these slabs. Like, surely you would just replace that cable, because you know it's going to fail at some point. It's probably about 40-year-old. But again, that's not why I'm here. I just need to make sure that that cable's fine. One wee tip for anybody that ever does any street lighting or anything like that, always end up losing these screws. So whenever I take them out of a cutout, I always just put them in this wee red flashcard, and it keeps them all together and safe, and it means I've got exactly the amount I need to put it back together properly. Back at the middle column again, and obviously we know this one's good and going up there, so we've got a 50-50 chance of which one is going where, so we'll just try on this one. 250 volts, rest test. Right, so that's showing us down, but that could obviously just be going to that one. So that's showing us clear now, so I'll take that off. Just so that it's doing it on camera for you guys. And there you go, that's clear. So we know that that one is good. And going to the left. So take that off. So we know that's good. Actually, I'm not going to move the connections too much, but we know that one's good. So it's just this one here that we need to prove does go over there and is clear. Right, this one's pretty much the same idea, other than this cable's either been fine or just long enough to bring up any of the cutout itself, which is obviously a bit better than having to do a joint back underneath it. So we'll go back over there and IR test. Again, if there's any wind noise, sorry, but not much I can do about it. So we've got on this one that was in the middle, 250. And that's clear. And then we've just go air, clear, and then neutral air, clear, and that's going up there rapid, so that cable's absolutely fine. I know that the cables all go to certain locations, and I know that they're all good in this wee bit. I'll crack on and now with putting all of this back together, and then what I'll probably do is just go and strip down the rest of the circuit, IR test it, and I'll just do that off camera, and I'll maybe even just jump back in with a wee update in a bit for you. All three of the columns back together. Now I'll just head up to that one, tidy everything up there, but obviously I'll explain a bit further when I'm up at that column, but I'm not going to be connecting that stuff back in, obviously, otherwise it's just going to trip the circuit again, but I'll explain a wee bit more when I'm up there. What I'm going to do for this is the leg that's down between here, so just taped up the ends, just more of an indicator for people that this is obviously down, and then obviously it's just so that it can easily just get bumped back in, or any parts touch anything live or anything like that. Obviously I'll put the cutout back together properly as well. Obviously it's not going to be getting energised anyway, because I'll be doing the exact same thing here. I don't really want to cut any of these ends away in case they're able to find wherever the damage is and reuse one leg, so that I'm not cutting it too short. So I'll do the same, tape it up, make it safe, put it all back inside the cutout if I can. Again, not ideal, but really the only way you can kind of do this. So I'll go and do that now. Not bad there, quite happy to get that back on, just need to put a few of the screws in, but that's pretty decent, and it's keeping all the potential live parts safe should somebody get into this SMK, or somebody get into this column. I think the only other thing I need to do is go back over to that column R6 put the cut-out cover back on that, then re-energise this, and I'll even just give it a quick test. Give it a ZS. I'll go back, I'll go over to the end of the line, which is a way down there, and give it a ZS just to see that this circuit's still fine, obviously after I've been tampering about with it. That's all back energised. See if it's light there. Obviously this stuff isn't, it's going to be full dark in the meantime, but I'll stick a sheet in to get this looked at urgently. It's going to be leaving this dark and it's a wee dead end. Like I said, I'll go around there, get a ZS, and do all my sort of paperwork. Basically I'm going to do a drawing, which I know you all love, and I'll also be doing effectively like a testing sheet, and I'll just show all my results for the IR testing and that. So while I'm effectively going to be doing a wee bit of testing on this just to make sure that all these circuits are fine, that's the main reason why I've been asking for a MFT. So here's going to be another shameless plug. Any companies out there that want to send us one, by all means go for it. Really appreciate it, and I'd get plenty of coverage on the channel. I think I'm going to be struggling to do this with I think this doesn't even know what to test, but let's see. So I've got my voltage there, so 0.12. So you can see there, obviously main earth disconnected, all breakers and all that stuff off, hand switch off. So I'll put this back to normal, and we'll go and find the furthest away one, and we'll do a ZS on that as well. And I'll do a PSC test on this as well, and 1.41 is my reading. Panel though, back to how it was, main earth back in there, nice and tight. Like I said, all my stuff back on there, so I'll secure this up and we'll go and find the end of the line. Hopefully you can hear us over the noise of the van, but this one here is my end of the line. See we're on a voltage, 1.13, then 1.12 is my reading here. So put this all back to normal again, but I can stick the results down, I'll do my drawing, I'll even show you that, and I'll join you back in the van. So you know I like my wee drawings, and that's what I've come up with here. Again, I know it's not overly artistic, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I think I just need to add in that that's R6, and there's obviously one or two wee bits of information on here that I've not put in yet, that I will. Obviously the individual readings for the IR testing and stuff like that I've got doodled down somewhere else. I think it's in my wee testing box, but you can see all the information there. So you have my ZE, ZS, type of supply, fuses, the amount of columns on the circuit, what circuit breaker it is, it's a C20 on the yellow phase, where the cable fault is. Again, I'll put it on a separate sheet, but I'll say effectively the remedials that's needing done to get this sorted is probably going to be digging a patch at both R5 and R3, but I'd put money on the base of R3 being the first place to dig. They'll likely find a fault in there, and then it's just going to be a case of a joint pack, putting up a new bit of cable, and it should be fine. But I thought it's interesting to sort of show you this side of things as well. But I'll leave it here, and hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Thanks if you've made it this far, and I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later. Bye bye.